Assalamu alaikum.
Wa ilaykum barak.
What would your advice be for someone at uni or maybe school, so it becomes general and everyone can relate? Sometimes one can have a friend that's not as practicing and he tries to help him, but then he notices that he stays a bit in his ways and starts to affect you now. How should he go about it if they see each other every day? That if he avoids him now, it might make him feel something in his heart and stuff like that. Jazakallah khair.
So first of all, my advice to you, if there's any way you can avoid going to those places, that's what you should do. If you can be homeschooled, if you can go to a Islamic school or a madrasa, or if there's any way that you can avoid going to or putting your kids into school, wallahi, even Muslim school, if there's any way you can avoid it, then I believe that's what is obligatory upon you to do. And I don't use that word lightly. I believe it's obligatory upon you to do it. If you can avoid it, because I don't know of any way that is putting our kids faster onto the path of Jahannam than the schooling system. So if there's any way you can avoid it, otherwise it's akal maita, you're eating the dead animal, you just do what you have to do. Even uni, if there's any way you can avoid that whole uni life, and if there's any way you can avoid it, avoid it. But if you can't avoid it for whatever reason, then فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Now it comes to the point of the question, which is the issue of you've got someone that you're trying to distance from them, and distancing from them can be difficult when you see them every day. So here is the issue of what they talk about, the frog in hot water, right? They talk about, it's not a particularly nice topic, when they want to boil a frog alive, right? They don't drop the frog into boiling hot water. What they do is they put it in cold water and they let the heat rise gradually. So that's what you have to do. Instead of like going to that person, I've got nothing to do with you, ana bari'un mink, iyaka anni, get out of my face, I don't want to see you again. Is you just start to slowly distance yourself from them, bit by bit, day by day, starting with the worst things. Some people some people are so bad you have to tell them that, but if it's not that bad, you just start to distance yourself. You just start to say no a bit more often. The first couple of weeks you say no like 20% of the time, then 30% of the time, then 40% of the time. And the person naturally just separates from you. And it's not like, it doesn't have to be something drastic and extreme like that. That is if you see good in that. If you see the person is just a person of evil, then sometimes it's better to just have a short, sharp break. And I give an example. Relationships, boyfriend and girlfriend and what have you. My honest advice, wallahi, nasiha from me to the people in that situation. Don't try the approach I just mentioned. Short, sharp shock. Pick the phone, say, I'm sorry, it's over, full stop, send a message, khalas. Trust me, she'll cry for, well, maybe she won't cry, but presumably she'll cry for half a day and she'll forget you. But when you draw it out like that, it hurts you, it hurts the other person, you earn sin for every single day that you're drawing it out, and the shaitan is constantly telling you, don't do it, don't do it. You could marry her in the end. So that's an example not to do that. Just short, sharp shock. I'm sorry, I've been thinking I have to change my direction in life. Finish. Some friends are like that as well. Like some people are just there's so much harm in the relationship between you and them that you have no choice but to cut it like instantly. But often with friends, especially if you can just choose to avoid the worst things, and little bit by little bit you just distance yourself more and more, and the person just sees it as naturally. They say, oh, we grew apart. We just went in different directions. But always your hand is open to that person, right? That friend to come back to the deen. So they don't see you as being a person who, one of the worst things you can do is to climb on your ivory tower. Ya akhi, don't you remember where you were yesterday? Don't you remember yesterday you were doing the things what that guy is doing, and now you stood up on your ivory tower saying to him that you cut off from that person, you don't give them any chance to reach you, and you belittle them and all of that. And don't you remember where you were yesterday? If you do, then you have to have your hand has to be outstretched for that person. But they have to come to you in the sense that you can't go to do what they're doing, but they have to take a step towards what you're doing. But they know the door's always open. You know, they never feel like you have, like you're cutting off from them in a way that you want bad for them and you want to just, you want to keep the good for yourself only. And that's one of the beautiful things about Islam. We don't keep the good only to ourselves. We want to share it with everybody. And if your brother goes to Jahannam, it doesn't make your space in Jannah any bigger. And it doesn't make you get a higher space. But if your brother goes to Jannah because of Allah and then your space in Jannah gets bigger, right? So the more people you invite, the better you get, the more you get in Jannah. It's not like this world where the more people you invite, the less space you have. The more people you invite, the more you get. So you want to invite as many people as possible. Is it true that sometimes a person might have to distance themselves with that short, sharp shock and then come back to their friends later? Yeah, especially if it's something which their friends doing, which is like, for example, addictions like drugs and things like that. Yeah, you sometimes have to separate yourself with a short, sharp shock. You can't say to them, look, I'm going to sit around with you guys, but I'm not going to take anything. And like, it doesn't really work like that. But then later, could you be in a stage where you might be able to go to that person and bring them out? Yeah, you could. But you might have to strengthen yourself first, because Allah Azza wa Jalla said, Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu, qu anfusakum wa ahlikum nara. Save yourself first, and then save your family from a fire whose fuel is men and stones.